There are foods that many people try to find in capsules, expensive supplements, or healthy packaged products, when they could be on the plate every day in a much simpler way. And the most interesting part is that some of the most powerful foods for health are not new. They have existed for a long time. They are found at the market, in grocery stores, in home kitchens, and they may help with blood sugar, fullness, gut health, heart health, inflammation, and metabolic health. But before anything else, I need to make something clear. There is no miracle food. No single food cures diabetes, causes weight loss by itself, cleans the arteries, eliminates inflammation, or replaces medication. What truly exists is an eating pattern. When you choose real food consistently, your body starts receiving more fiber, protein, healthy fats, vitamins, minerals, and natural compounds that help metabolism work better. I'm Edu Rodriguez, a pharmacist, biochemist, diabetes and health educator, a member of the Brazilian Diabetes Society, and I have lived with type 1 diabetes for more than 26 years. And today, I want to show you some very interesting foods to include in your routine, especially if you want to improve your health, control blood sugar better, feel more satisfied, and move away from ultra-processed foods. The first food is sauerkraut, or fermented cabbage. Here I am talking about real fermented cabbage, not just a preserve full of sugar, vinegar, and additives. Fermented foods can be interesting because they contain compounds produced during fermentation and may help diversify your diet. Cabbage is a cruciferous vegetable, from the same family as broccoli, cauliflower, and kale. These foods contain fiber and bioactive compounds that may participate in the body's antioxidant defenses. When cabbage is properly fermented, it may also be more interesting for the gut in some people, because fermentation changes part of the food's components. But here is a warning. Not everyone tolerates fermented foods well. People with irritable bowel syndrome, severe bloating, active gastritis, sensitivity to fermented foods, or salt restriction need to go slowly. It is also important to remember that many ready-made products are high in sodium. So if you have high blood pressure or fluid retention, you need to watch the amount. The idea is not to eat an entire jar. A small portion with a meal may already be enough to add flavor, fiber, and variety. The second food is arugula. Arugula is a simple leafy green, but it is very interesting. It has few calories, low carbohydrate content, fiber, natural compounds, and it can easily be used in salads, omelets, meals with meat, chicken, fish, or even as the base of a plate. It is also part of the cruciferous vegetable group, and that is interesting because these vegetables tend to offer compounds associated with metabolic health. Another point is that leafy greens help a lot with fullness. When you start a meal with a good portion of salad, you tend to eat more slowly, chew better, and reduce that exaggerated hunger that leads to too much rice, bread, pasta, or dessert. For people with diabetes, this can be a simple strategy. Increase the volume of the plate with leafy greens and vegetables before increasing carbohydrates. Arugula with extra virgin olive oil, lemon, and a small pinch of salt can be a simple combination, much better than ready-made dressings full of sugar, poor quality oils, and additives. The third food is fatty fish rich in omega-3, such as salmon, sardines, mackerel, and herring. Many people only think of salmon, but sardines are also an excellent option. They are usually more affordable and can provide healthy fats, protein, and minerals. Omega-3 is an important fat for the body and may participate in processes related to inflammation, cardiovascular health, brain function, and metabolism. But again, without exaggerated promises, eating fish does not cancel out a poor diet. It makes no sense to eat salmon once a week and live on sugar, fried foods, cookies, soda, and ultra-processed foods. What makes the difference is the routine. Fatty fish within a healthy eating pattern can be excellent. And if you do not like salmon or think it is too expensive, think about sardines. Sardines with salad, sardines with vegetables, sardines at lunch, or a homemade sardine spread with natural yogurt or olive oil can work very well. Just pay attention to sodium when using canned options, and prefer products with simpler ingredients. The fourth food is extra virgin olive oil. Olive oil is one of the most studied foods within eating patterns associated with heart health, such as the Mediterranean diet. It contains monounsaturated fats and antioxidant compounds. It may help improve the quality of the meal, especially when it replaces refined oils, ready-made sauces, excess mayonnaise, or poor quality fats. But olive oil also has calories, so just because it is healthy does not mean it should be used without limits. 1 or 2 tablespoons throughout the day, depending on your goal and your eating plan, may make sense, but pouring half the bottle over the plate can get in the way for someone trying to lose weight. A smart way to use it is on salads, vegetables, leafy greens, and simple preparations. It improves flavor, increases fullness, and helps people stick to a diet with more vegetables. And one important detail: choose extra virgin olive oil from a good source. Check the expiration date, prefer dark bottles, and avoid exposing it to heat and light. The 5th food is good quality meat, but with balance. Here we need common sense. Protein is essential to preserve muscle mass, increase fullness, support recovery, maintain strength, and reduce hunger throughout the day. Beef, chicken, fish, eggs, and other protein sources can be part of the diet. Red meat also provides iron, zinc, B vitamins, and natural creatine. But that does not mean a person should eat excessive amounts of red meat every day, and it does not mean any type of meat is the same. There is a big difference between simple meat prepared at home and ultra-processed burgers, processed meats, bacon, hot dogs, sausages, and meat that is burned too much. For health, preparation and frequency matter a lot. If you eat meat, prefer simple preparations: cooked, grilled without burning, ground at home with vegetables and salad. Avoid turning every meal into processed meat, bread, cheese, sauce, and fried food. For people with diabetes, protein helps a lot with fullness, but the plate needs to be balanced: protein, vegetables, fiber, and carbohydrates in the right amount for you. The 6th food is Brazil nuts. Brazil nuts are known as one of the richest sources of selenium, an important mineral for antioxidant functions and thyroid health. But this is a food where quantity is essential. You are not supposed to eat a huge handful every day. In general, 1 Brazil nut per day or a few times per week may already be enough for many people. Eating too many Brazil nuts every day can lead to excess selenium, and excess can also be harmful. This is a perfect example that even healthy foods need the right amount. Brazil nuts can be part of a snack, combined with natural yogurt, or used as a complement in a meal, but always with moderation. The 7th food is dark chocolate or cocoa. Yes, chocolate can be part of a healthy routine, but we are talking about chocolate with a high cocoa percentage, low sugar, and in a small amount. Not milk chocolate full of sugar. Not candy. Not filled chocolate bars. Not dessert disguised as health. Cocoa contains polyphenols, magnesium, and compounds that may be interesting for cardiovascular health and the microbiome, but the dose and type make all the difference. A small portion of 70% or 85% dark chocolate or pure cocoa may be a better option than very sugary sweets. But for people with diabetes, it is still important to observe the blood sugar response, because even dark chocolate can contain carbohydrates and calories. It is also good to avoid chocolate at night if you notice it affects your sleep, because cocoa may contain stimulating compounds for some people. The 8th food is good quality cheese, but without exaggeration. Cheese can provide protein, fat, calcium, and good satiety. Some aged cheeses have less lactose than regular milk, which may make them easier to tolerate for some people. But there is also a trap here. Cheese is easy to overeat. A person starts with 1 slice, and when they notice, they have eaten a large amount. This can greatly increase calories, saturated fat, and sodium. So cheese can be part of the routine, but as a complement, not as the base of everything. Prefer better quality cheeses, smaller portions, and avoid ultra-processed products that look like cheese but are full of starch, vegetable oils, coloring, and additives. The 9th food is natural yogurt. Natural yogurt, especially unsweetened, can be a good source of protein, calcium, and fermenting bacteria. It can be useful for breakfast or a snack, combined with chia, flaxseed, nuts, a small portion of fruit, or cocoa. But here is one of the biggest traps in the market: flavored yogurt. Many yogurts sold as healthy contain sugar, syrup, starch, coloring, flavorings, and very little protein. Some are basically dessert. So for people with diabetes, the rule is simple. Read the label. Choose unsweetened natural yogurt. If you want flavor, add cinnamon, cocoa, some fruit, or seeds. That way, you control better what you are putting into your body. The 10th food is eggs. Eggs are simple, affordable, versatile, and very nutritious. They contain high-quality protein, choline, vitamins, and the natural fat from the yolk. Many people are still afraid of eggs because of cholesterol, but today we know that for most people, the impact of eggs needs to be seen within the whole diet, not in isolation. The problem is usually not a boiled egg with salad. The problem is an egg fried in poor quality oil, eaten with white bread, bacon, processed meats, and a disorganized eating routine. Eggs can help a lot with fullness, especially at breakfast. For people with diabetes, replacing a breakfast full of bread, cookies, juice, and sugar with a meal containing eggs, vegetables, and some source of fiber can greatly improve the blood sugar response. But each person needs to adapt according to their reality, lab results, and professional guidance. Now, notice the pattern in these foods. They have little or no added sugar. They are real foods. They help with satiety. Many contain fiber, protein, or healthy fats, and they tend to replace foods that worsen blood sugar, such as refined flour, sweets, juices, ultra-processed foods, and constant snacking. That is the main point. It is not enough to simply add healthy foods on top of a poor diet. If a person eats beans, arugula, olive oil, fish, and nuts, but continues overdoing soda, cookies, white bread, sweets, fried foods, and sugary drinks, the results may be limited. Real change happens when these foods replace worse choices, replacing cookies with natural yogurt and chia, replacing ready-made dressing with olive oil and lemon, replacing fried foods with fish, replacing sugary dessert with a small piece of dark chocolate, replacing a low-protein dinner with eggs, salad, and vegetables, replacing ultra-processed foods with real food. That is how health improves, through repeated choices. And for people with diabetes, prediabetes, or insulin resistance, this is even more important. Blood sugar does not depend only on sugar. It responds to the whole meal: sleep, stress, movement, weight, muscle mass, medications, and routine. So before looking for the perfect food, organize the basics. Eat more vegetables. Include adequate protein. Use healthy fats with moderation. Choose better quality carbohydrates in the right amount for you. Avoid sugary drinks. Reduce ultra-processed foods. Observe your blood sugar. Sleep better. Walk more. Drink water. These foods can help, but they're part of a bigger picture. If you want to start simply, choose 3 foods from this list to include this week: 1 leafy green, 1 good protein source, and 1 healthy fat. For example, arugula with olive oil at lunch, eggs at breakfast, and sardines twice a week. Then you can include natural yogurt, Brazil nuts with moderation, a small portion of dark chocolate, lentils, beans, chickpeas, and other real foods. You do not need to change everything at once. You need to start. And remember, health is not built with one magic food. Health is built with repetition, strategy, and consistency. If this video helped you understand which foods can appear more often in your routine, leave your like, because that helps the channel bring simple and safe information to more people. And tell me in the comments, which of these foods do you already eat every day? And which one will you try to include from now on? Share this video with someone who thinks healthy eating has to be expensive, complicated, or full of supplements. And if you like learning about diabetes, health, food, and prevention in a simple way, without fear-mongering and without miracle promises, subscribe to the channel and stay with me for the next video.